Alright, welcome to my first Patreon exclusive tutorial. And in this one we're going to create this liquid fluid light painting thing here that you can control by the mouse or any kind of input actually. I originally made this to test out a new Wacom tablet that I have. So this also works with a tablet, so you can use any kind of input to control this painting. And there's a few different styles that you can try out that I'll show you how to create. So yeah, and it's quite a simple technique. This is the whole network, and you can really expand it if you want to, and there's a lot of room to play as always. So before I dive into this, I want to say thank you a lot for becoming part of this project, and you're like supporting me as an artist and as a teacher, I guess. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and let's build this from scratch as always. So we are going to start with a circle top. We're only going to work in tops, and I'm going to change the resolution here to 1920 by 1080 as always, and I'm going to change the radius of the circle to like 0.07, like, or just 0.7, and the softness on the softness tab here to 0.05. So we have this small soft looking circle there, and we don't really need to change anything here for now. What we want to do here is to control this circle with the mouse. So we do that by using, there's also the mouse in Chop here, but that doesn't actually work that well. I would highly recommend using the panel chop, because it's gonna read the values from like the perform mode, like from the size of the window. It really makes more sense. It's more like flexible in a way. So in here in the panel we can already just select the values we want. So yeah, we want to have like I've already tested this out. We want to have like the inside U and the inside V. There's also like the UV, true UV, but I noticed these values you don't get when you're like press the mouse. So inside U and inside V is a value that you always receive. So it's nice to work with that. So I can just just type them in here. Inside U, inside V, you can see this panel changing and selecting those, and I want to just, for having this easier, just want to call them U and V. And I'm going to attach this to a map, so I can like remap these, because these are going from 0 to 1 right now. And if you look in the circle here, if I change the center, we want to like go to minus like 0.5 and 0.5, and the same thing here. So I want to map the value from 0 and 1 to minus 0.5 and 0.5. Alright, and then I'm going to attach this to a null and use these values to change the center here. So I'm just going to drag that on there, and can kind of not see it well right now. Like if I click on here, so it says open viewer, then I can move my mouse here, and then you can see I'm controlling this circle there, and yeah. Alright, so that's working well. Actually, let me put it somewhere where it makes sense to see. Whoops. Destroyed everything now. Okay. What we want to do now is to multiply this, because we don't just want to have a circle, we want to have like a more interesting circle. So we're using a noise to change the circle a bit. So I want to have this noise the same size, like the same resolution of my circle. So I'm gonna go to the circle comment page and say copy parameter, the resolution, and say pass reference here. So it's also 1920 by 1080. And then I'm going to select the comp here and leave this operation at like on multiply, and then just put this one in here as well. So I'm also going to attach this to a null, so we can call this BG. So we just have that null in the background there. You can always see what's going on. Right, so now you see this weird blob in the background, and now I want to change some stuff about the noise. So first, that's the period. I want to have the period to be like 0.7, no harmonics, and what, 0.6, and like the offset to 0.7, so we have more white there. So now if I go on this viewer again, you can already see this because I changed the null here. Yeah, before I show you that, so go to your, like, zoom out and go to your project one, and change the width and height to whatever you want to have it to be, and then go to the look and change this to BG. So this null will actually be shown there, so you can see this is being shown there. And on the perform, click on this and then turn the borders off because it's turned on for you. And then if you go to F1, you can just see the perform mode. So now you can see how I'm like moving through that noise. So like I'm just moving this circle over the noise, and therefore it's like being changed, and it looks kind of more interesting than if I just did this. So it's just a circle, and now it's an interesting circle. All right, so I don't actually want to, yeah, there we go. So the next step is to use a level here to increase the contrast a bit. So I just put this to 2, so we have like a more contrast in there, and then put an edge here. I'm going to bypass this for now though, but we are going to use it later. I don't know why sometimes it's like still whatever. Okay, we're going to get back to this, and I'm going to use a blur here. We're going to use a lot of blurring. Okay, that's super annoying actually. Can I like get rid of that, please? Apparently not. Okay, whatever. Usually with the panel it shouldn't work when you have like just a thing in the background, so I don't know. So on this blur I want to change the filter size to like 20, and then we're going to create a feedback loop to change the blur over time. So I'm going to use a composite here again and change this to add, and then with the middle mouse I'm going to insert a feedback and put that in here, and drag this comp onto the feedback. So now if I go into the perform mode, you can already see I'm drawing the circle over itself all the time. So that's nice. You can already notice in the background that there's alpha here. It's not being shown in the perform mode, but it's shown here as these checkerboards. So I'm gonna insert a transform here at the very end and change the background alpha to 1 and say comp over background color. So now we have a black background. And then I want to be able to always reset this easily. So what I'm going to do, what I always do, is to just insert a keyboard in. The key is always selected as 1, so I'm just gonna leave it at 1 and just take that value and like just take that channel and put it here, say chop reference, and now when I press 1 it's always being reset, so I can like play with this better. Okay, there we go. Now it works for some reason. And all right. So what I want to do here in this feedback, as I said, I wanted to change some blur over time, is that I'm just going to put a blur in here and change the filter size to like 14. And now you can see it's kind of like growing over time, because we're like using like this image, which is being blurred. That like it gets here and then it's being refed into here. So we're using a blurred image and blurring it again. So that's how like the blur increases over time and kind of looks like this watercolor painting. Okay, so now we just have a white circle. So I want to change that with a lookup. And so I just drop a lookup in here and attach this to a ramp. All right. So now I'm gonna change the lowest value here to like a bit blue. So like just slightly blue, and I quite the alpha. Okay. So and not even sure if this is necessary. All right. Anyways, I'm going to put another one here that I'm gonna make quite the bright blue, but not very, not with a high saturation, more like somewhere here. And then another one here with a lot of saturation, also quite bright. And then a dark blue here again. So something like that. Before that, I also forgot, I want to have a level here as well, where I'm going to change the brightness to 0.1. So there we go. This doesn't look exactly how I imagined it. So you just need to like play around here to get a nice looking effect. So something like that, I guess. Let me see. You can change, like you can take any kind of colors here to make this look nice. You also don't have to use like a dark color there, but I like the aesthetic of that. So you can just yeah, change it to whatever you feel like. And I'm just gonna get to the next step. And the next step is another level to just make this pop a bit. Just change the brightness to like 1.2 and contrast to 1.1, and then already looks a bit cooler. And yeah, that's about it. I think that's the whole setup. So now I can really like play around with this, and I'm going to show you a few things that you can change. So first, that's of course the noise. You can always like change this to be change it quite a lot. So this is also an interesting effect with the harmonics, higher or like lower period, higher period, and you can also like insert this edge effect with like strength of 5, and then you yeah, it also looks a bit different, as you can see. And you can change the blur. Like I wouldn't put the blur too high because it's not going to run very smoothly anymore, but you can put this blur to like pre-shrink to like 2, and then it makes this really nice fading effect, so it just fades away over time. It somehow my colors looked cooler in the example. I don't really know why that is, but it's really just a lot of like trial and error with those. Because the lookup is really like important in this this part. Yeah, I'm gonna make the period smaller again. And yeah, obviously you can change like the RAM there, or change this blur as well. Or you could insert more noises. Whatever floats your boat. Yeah, I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll be posting around like one of these Patreon exclusive tutorial a month, I'd say, and I'm going to yeah, sometimes upload some other stuff that might be cool for you as a paying patron. And also you get all the files of my other tutorials that I'll be hopefully posting more of again. I've really got quite a list of ideas now, so I hope I'll get to that very soon. And yeah, please let me know if there's anything that you wanna have me covered, or yeah, I'll see you soon.